He stood on his quiet lawn as strangers walked across it like it was a sidewalk. What they didn't know was that one document would change everything by sunrise. Ethan had bought the small lakeside home for peace, not conflict. Every morning, people from the nearby HOA community crossed his grass, ignoring the clear path just a few steps away. At first, he smiled and let it go. He believed kindness would be enough. But kindness turned into entitlement. Shoes wore lines into his lawn. Children rode bikes inches from his windows. HOA members waved as if the land already belonged to them. One afternoon, a neatly dressed woman stopped and informed Ethan that his yard was considered community access. Her confidence shocked him. That night, he searched old files left by his late grandfather. Inside a faded folder was a deed map that told a very different story. The landlines stretched far beyond his fence. The HOA paths, signs, and even their streets rested on his inherited property. As Ethan stared at the map, he realized this wasn't just about a lawn. It was about control, history, and a mistake no one expected to be exposed. The realization made his hands shake, not with anger, but with clarity. Tomorrow, he would stop smiling and start listening closely to every step they took across what was legally his. The calm before the storm settled over the lake, hiding the truth beneath its glassy surface. Ethan didn't sleep that night. Every memory of footsteps echoed louder, promising that the next day would begin a story the HOA could never walk away from. Watch closely. Soon, the next morning, Ethan placed small flags along the edge of his lawn. It looked peaceful, but every flag carried a warning no one noticed yet. HOA members continued walking across his property, louder now, more confident. A board member stopped him near the mailbox and said the grass had always been shared. Ethan didn't argue. He nodded politely and let them talk. That silence confused them. By afternoon, a printed notice appeared on his door claiming he violated HOA access rules. Ethan smiled as he read it. They had no idea he wasn't part of their HOA at all. That evening, he met quietly with a local land attorney. The old deed, the maps, and the survey lines told a shocking truth. The shortcut wasn't shared land. It was private property, inherited legally decades ago. Even the HOA's main walking path crossed it. The lawyer advised patience. No arguments. No signs yet. Just documentation. As the sun dipped behind the lake, Ethan watched neighbors cross his lawn again. Each step felt different now. Not annoying. Not disrespectful. Each step was evidence. He recorded dates, times, and photos. The HOA kept pushing, unaware they were building a case against themselves. One member laughed and said, "You can't stop everyone." Ethan quietly replied, "I'm not stopping anyone. Yet." That single word echoed in his mind. Yet. The calm lake reflected the sky, hiding the tension underneath. Something irreversible had already begun, and the HOA was walking straight into it, smiling, confident, and completely unprepared for what patience could do when paired with the law. The letter arrived without warning, sealed and official. It was the moment the balance quietly shifted. The HOA demanded Ethan remove the flags and allow community passage immediately. They threatened fines and public complaints. Ethan didn't respond. Instead, his attorney filed a simple request with the county for an updated boundary confirmation. When the survey team arrived days later, orange markers appeared across lawns, paths, and even part of the HOA entrance road. Neighbors gathered, whispering. Board members frowned. The surveyor calmly explained the lines. According to records, Ethan owned more than just grass. He owned the ground beneath their shortcut, benches, and signage. The HOA president argued loudly, insisting it was impossible. The surveyor handed over stamped documents. Silence followed. That afternoon, emails flew through the community. Some denied it. Others panicked. Ethan watched from his porch as people avoided eye contact. No one crossed his lawn that day. For the first time, the path was empty. But the real shock hadn't landed yet. That night, the HOA board held an emergency meeting. They planned to challenge the survey, confident power and money would protect them. Ethan expected this. His lawyer had already prepared the next step. A quiet legal notice was scheduled for delivery. No lawsuit. No drama. Just a legal boundary enforcement that required immediate compliance. As the moon reflected on the lake, Ethan felt calm. Not victorious. Just steady. The truth didn't need shouting. It only needed proof. And proof was now painted across the land in bright, undeniable lines. Tomorrow, those lines would stop being markers and start becoming barriers the HOA could no longer step over. The notice arrived before noon. By sunset, everything felt different. The HOA was ordered to cease all use of the marked land immediately. No fines. No accusations. Just a clear boundary backed by county records. Panic spread quietly. The walking path was blocked with temporary tape. Residents complained. Board members blamed each other. Ethan remained silent. He installed a modest fence along the property line, nothing aggressive, just enough to make the message clear. Cameras captured confused faces stopping at the barrier. Some looked embarrassed. Others angry. A few knocked on his door, asking to talk it out. Ethan listened respectfully. He explained the truth without emotion. This wasn't revenge. It was correction. One elderly neighbor apologized, saying they never meant harm. That moment softened the tension, but the HOA leadership refused to accept it. They tried public pressure, posting complaints online. It backfired. Comments questioned why the HOA never verified land ownership. The story spread beyond the neighborhood. Slowly, support shifted. The fence stayed. The lawn healed. Silence replaced footsteps. The HOA's confidence cracked. They realized they couldn't push past law with authority alone. As days passed, the lake returned to stillness. Ethan sat on his porch, watching the sunset. Peace returned, but something else lingered. Curiosity. The HOA hadn't made their final move yet. And Ethan knew when people lose power quietly, they often try one last loud move before letting go. The lawsuit threat came quickly and collapsed even faster. That was when the truth finally settled in. The HOA filed a complaint, claiming historical access rights. But history worked against them. Old photos, county logs, and archived permits confirmed Ethan's family ownership for generations. The HOA had built paths without permission decades earlier, assuming no one would notice. The judge dismissed the case within minutes. The room fell silent. No celebration. Just reality. Outside, board members avoided cameras. Residents watched quietly. Back home, the HOA removed signs and rerouted paths. Ethan didn't gloat. He simply watched life adjust. Children played elsewhere. Walkers found new routes. The lawn remained untouched. One evening, the HOA president knocked on Ethan's door. The conversation was short and respectful. An apology was offered. Not dramatic. Just honest. Ethan accepted it. The conflict had never been personal. It had been careless. As weeks passed, the neighborhood felt calmer. Boundaries brought clarity. The lake reflected peaceful evenings again. Ethan realized something important. Standing firm didn't make him a villain. It made him visible. And visibility changed behavior. The HOA learned a lesson they'd never forget. Power without awareness leads to quiet failure. Ethan learned patience could protect peace better than anger ever could. But the story wasn't finished yet. Because the final twist wasn't about land. It was about what happened after control disappeared. Months later, something unexpected happened. The HOA asked Ethan for help. Without the shortcut, property values dipped slightly. Residents complained about long walks. The board requested permission to negotiate access properly. Not demand. Not assume. Negotiate. Ethan considered it carefully. He consulted his lawyer. This time, terms were clear. Limited access. Written agreement. Maintenance responsibility on the HOA. Respect in exchange for use. The board agreed immediately. The new agreement restored a controlled path, clearly marked and legally defined. No confusion. No entitlement. The community adjusted smoothly. Trust rebuilt slowly. Neighbors waved again, this time with sincerity. The lawn stayed protected. The fence became symbolic rather than necessary. Ethan realized control didn't have to mean isolation. It could mean structure. Balance. The HOA learned humility. The residents learned awareness. And Ethan learned that protecting what's yours doesn't require hostility, only clarity. The lake reflected a community reshaped by one quiet legal move. And the final lesson was clear. Boundaries don't divide people. They teach them how to coexist properly. The lawn was quiet again, not because people feared it, but because they respected it. Ethan sat by the lake, watching sunlight ripple across the water. What began as a shortcut had turned into a lesson no one would forget. The HOA didn't lose a battle. They gained understanding. One legal move, made calmly, reshaped an entire community. No shouting. No revenge. Just truth delivered at the right moment. The land remained his. The peace returned. And the story spread, reminding homeowners everywhere that silence paired with knowledge is powerful. Ethan never wanted control. He wanted respect. And in the end, that's exactly what he earned. The fence stood quietly, no longer a warning, but a reminder. Some paths are not meant to be crossed without permission. And some lessons arrive only when people finally stop walking over what they never owned, and that was the final twist in this unbelievable HOA story. If you love the drama, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment sharing your thoughts. It really helps this channel grow.